Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are back in the building, the Big Three show. Hey, it's the conference finals time in the NBA. Hey, we've had a couple of good games so far. If you guys have been watching out there, man, like CM in the building once again. What you say, my bro? How you doing?
Boy, man, the NBA playoffs, they're moving quickly again. You always get to this point, yeah, where even at the start of the regular season, you look at it and you say, 82 games, bro. We're gonna have enough time. But there's never enough time. And now we're in the conference finals, a series away from the NBA finals, and we've got four teams. Um, and four teams, exciting teams when you look at it. Because I remember when we got into this stage after the conference semifinals, we looked at it and we said, in each of these Eastern and Western Conference matchups, there's a potential for another new champion, a different champion again. The Denver Nuggets, they weren't able to get it done in game 7. So now we're looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves going up against the Dallas Mavericks, who've made it to the conference finals for the second time in this Luka era. And they're a completely different team in comparison to who they were in that time period. So it's like the dynamic between himself, Kyrie, and the entire squad being able to change the way they've played and really finally buy into that Jason Kidd style of defensive work first above all.
Mm.
And then you look at the Eastern Conference where nobody expected an Indiana Pacers side to be at this stage during at any
Mhm,
point of the season,
mhm.
even at the start when they
At the
were
start.
lighting it up in the in-season tournament.
Mm.
Nobody expected this, but here we are. You can talk about injuries in the Bucks in the next season, but you have to get there.
Mm.
We've seen situations where teams are down and the opposition is still not able to get it done. The
Yeah.
Pacers have done this, and now they're going up against the Boston Celtics, who are one of the title favorites, best record in the NBA, by far in the Eastern Conference, and a lot of expectations, a lot of talk. I'm sure we'll touch on it today. Jason Tatum,
Mm.
Jalen Brown, and just the team they've assembled over there in Boston. So there's a lot of interesting things to speak about, not to mention all of these game 1 matchups.
For sure. I mean, look, CM, bro, I can see you're excited to,
Hey,
to to dive into this type of stuff. Hey, it's been exciting to watch. And I'm not even just talking about the start of the conference finals. I mean, we still have stuff to cover from game 6,
yeah,
OKC Dallas. We still got the game 7s as well. For both New York and Indiana and the Denver Nuggets and Timberwolves game
mm,
7 too. So there's a lot to discuss here. But before we do that, people, make sure you're hitting that like button, subscribe button as well if you're new, hit the notification bell and all of that good stuff. We're gonna say big up to our brother Chino right now. I know he's probably doing stuff with the family, still on his, on the nice little break. I'm sure he'll join us very, very shortly as well. And big up to everybody who's going to be in the chat as well whilst we are here discussing these games. But look, there's only one place to start. The All NBA announcements over the last couple of days, where we actually find out who's in the first team, the second team, third team, all NBA. We find out who's in the defensive teams of the year, the rookie teams of the year. So let's kick it off with the award winners. So let's talk about all NBA first team, and it is Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, and Jason Tatum. Now, bro, what do you think about that as an all NBA first team?
you know what? When it comes to all NBA, yeah, I there's always these controversies about who made it. I don't really have much of a problem when it comes to all of this stuff because I look at Nikola Jokic, best center in the game, MVP candidate. It's a given. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, all three of those guys were in the MVP conversation, high up in the MVP conversation for the majority of the season. Shea was the leader of the number 1 seed team. Luka
Mhm.
Doncic was a part of that Dallas Maverick side who were really able to benefit from trades at the deadline and really have that resurgence as a collective to have a strong finish in that Western Conference. Jason Tatum, leader of the team with the best record in the NBA this season. Credit to him, and of course Giannis Antetokounmpo, what he continues to do with the Milwaukee Bucks, despite their kind of up and down season. Maybe that was one of the selections you could have argued with potentially because of the way their season ended. But it's a phenomenal player overall. So I would say they're all deserved of first team All NBA. Congratulations to those guys. And let's not forget, getting All NBA opens up a lot when it comes to contract extensions. I heard Luka is now eligible for the highest contract in NBA history.
Oh, really?
The Supermax, yeah.
Oh,
just
wow.
based off of him getting that All NBA first team nod. So it is massive for these players.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the first team. I don't think that there's much that you can kind of take from that. No, take away from it, to be honest with you. I mean, we know that this is a positionless selection nowadays. But sometimes they kind of fall right into the way it needs to be, right? And you can't really argue. Like, you can't really argue for all of the players in there. Like, obviously Jokic, we know he's the best player in the world and MVP. And like you mentioned, bro, there's 3 guys in there who were top 3 in the MVP voting. So like you can't really argue against that. Jason Tatum, we look at it, best player on the best team in the NBA, so you can't argue against that. And Giannis is somebody who consistently performs regardless, like you said, of what happens with the Bucks. You know, the Bucks, we've mentioned this before, they're an old and pretty slow roster, and they've built that around the most athletic player in the league, just hands down, right? And he shows his prowess athletically on a nightly basis, and it far outshines that team, and like he's able to drag that team to places that maybe it shouldn't be, because when you look at it in reality, their team isn't that good, and it kind of showed in the playoffs here, you know, when going home pretty early, you know, and their over reliance on Giannis over the last 2 seasons is the reason why we probably see him picked All NBA first team. So I don't have any disagreements with this. In terms of All NBA first team, let's talk about All NBA second team. So we've got Jalen Brunson, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, and Kawhi Leonard. Now, there may be some contentious names in here potentially, and then as we move down. So what do you think about that?
Jalen Brunson, I think he's deserved of that All NBA second team at least nod as well. When you talk about him even taking a jump from last year and establishing himself in New York, in that team, the New York Knicks, the pressure that it is to play as a New York Knick, establishing himself as one of the best scoring guards in the league today. When you look at the way he's elevated his play from the Dallas days, coming over here as a New York Knick, taking a bet on himself and being able to be one of those main leaders. You look at what he was able to do for them in the playoffs in so much adversity, with no Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson missing here and there, no OG Anunoby. Like, he is one of the best scoring guards in the league today. You got Anthony Davis and Kevin Durant, who both of them didn't have the best team seasons when you look at the Los Angeles Lakers and the Phoenix Suns. But, you know, I remember constantly praising Kevin Durant for his level of play on both ends of the floor. Anthony Davis is another one of those guys who has been available this season and has been able to produce at a level that may have not contributed to team wins each and every time, which I guess people would be arguing for, because it's like, okay, you have Anthony Davis over this person, you have Kevin Durant over this person, when most of their play didn't contribute to a lot of wins. Fair enough. But when I'm looking at the play of those guys as individuals, they're more than deserving of getting those nods in All NBA second team. And then Anthony Edwards, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the jump that they've made this season based off of the disappointment in that playoff run where they get taken out by the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs, the jump that Anthony Edwards makes, the jump that the team makes as a collective to finish as one of the top 3 seeds in the Western Conference, a very difficult Western Conference. Well deserved again. And Kawhi Leonard is a funny one, right? Because I believe he's played the most games he has in the last, I don't know, maybe 3 or so seasons.
3 or 4 seasons, yeah.
3 or 4 seasons. So he was available. He played the games, and for the most part, he did produce. Now, at the same time, the Los Angeles Clippers did have a dull period
Mm.
where they were struggling to win games. They were struggling to put numbers on the board. And in that period as well, Kawhi Leonard wasn't exactly at his very best.
Mm.
So again, you could argue here and there, but I think with us being able to see a relatively healthy Kawhi Leonard in the regular season, at least, it was good enough to get that All NBA second team spot. It's just a shame we didn't get to see him more in the playoffs, to be honest.
Yeah. I think it's a funny one. When as soon as you start coming down the levels in terms of the first and second team, this is where like now we can start really picking holes into some of the decisions that have been made. Now,
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson, I can't argue with that. I mean, to be honest with you, some people argue he's been the best player in the Eastern Conference by far. Because of what he's able to do for that New York Knicks team. He's been able what he's been able to do since he's come to New York, to be honest with you. Because I remember questioning why the Knicks would pay him 4 year of a 4 year $100 million dollar deal, right? And he's completely shown why they paid him that money, and maybe maybe they undercut him a little bit, right? For somebody who he's not the biggest of players, he's definitely showing grit, determination. He has the skill set, and he attacks a lot, and so it's a testament to the fact that, through his leadership on the court, they've been able to get a number 2 seed, which probably they weren't expecting, to be honest with you. They weren't expecting to get that number 2 seed, and was able to sneak in there at the last moment. And he was definitely a huge part of that. Anthony Davis, a great individual. Oh, go on, bro. You're gonna say something.
I was saying you made that like argument of some people say he's potentially the best player in the East. You think he can take somebody's spot in the first team this season based off of his play?
I mean, it's gonna be tough, right? Because I don't expect to see a dip in Shai, because this is Shai's second or third All NBA.
I believe it's got to be second All NBA appearance.
So he was last year, this year. Yeah. This is Jason Tatum's third in a row. Giannis isn't going anywhere anytime soon, as far as I'm concerned. And no, neither is Nikola Jokic. Luka Doncic is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So he might, unfortunately, despite his play again for this new upcoming season, I don't think he'll make it in there unless like somebody within there doesn't meet the allocation of games because of injury. You know what I'm saying?
But even this season, so like we speak about the positionless thing. Can he take a Giannis's spot?
Maybe. It just really depends on what happens with the Bucks, to be honest with you, because they're in a bit of a tough spot. We know that they need to reshape their roster. They should have done it last year. They decided to persist with Brook Lopez and Chris Middleton, who were both out of contract. They decided to renew both of them. And ultimately, it hasn't worked out. Bringing Dame alongside them is another player who's 30 plus, and he's definitely slowed them down. Not to say Dame has slowed them down, but just as a roster in general, you're giving up a lot for him to be in the roster. So maybe it depends on. It just really depends, because how it's pretty funny. Like, to be honest with you, Luka got All NBA last year, but they didn't make the playoffs. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it could be a situation where one of these teams just ends up having a horrible season, and it really counts against them when it gets to that time in the season. And maybe Jalen Brunson can usurp. I don't know, but it's been a really good season for him. And I know it might be harsh because he might have had a really great season in the eyes of many people, but maybe not better than those 5. Anthony Davis, I think, has had a great individual season. Like, the key thing is he stayed healthy. So I think this is the most games he's played in 5 years, maybe, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe, bro.
Because it's a lot of games. Him and LeBron James, to be honest with you, both had a lot of games they was able to play. And you can see the impact when he doesn't play for the Lakers. Like, obviously there's a large quality drop off when he's not in there in the center position. And showing that robustness meant that he was able to stay on the court longer and then show his defensive prowess. Like, he's somebody that could average you 3-4 blocks a game potentially in stretches across the season. That defensive work that he does is so underrated. And like, at the same time, when he's on point on the offensive end, he can be devastating too. So I can't really argue with that. despite the fact that the Lakers didn't have the best of seasons in the end. Kevin Durant, it's a kind of similar situation where health has definitely been on his side. And so it means that he's able to be on the floor and continue to do the things that he needs to do. Averaging 28, 29 points a game, like, and impacting, yeah, you see, look, the most games since 2017-18. It's like, yeah, like he played a lot of games like this year. But for Kevin Durant, it's a similar situation. He's played a lot of games. Health has been on his side. And when you have a player like that, no matter his age, he's 35, like, he can still score at will. He was on the court probably more than Devin Booker and Bradley Beal this year. He was carrying that team to a certain extent. You know what I mean? And like, you know, I think it's an interesting one because of some of the because of his skill set, the history that he has in the league. He's not really going to miss out on all NBA, to be honest with you, Kevin Durant, even at this point in his career. You know, I think for some of these players, their history in the league has definitely carried over into some of this end of season voting, you know, like, so despite the fact that he may not have had a good season generally as it from a team perspective, individually, he's done well. And that coupled with the fact that he's had some good years just generally will always give him the nod over somebody else, maybe. Anthony Edwards had a great individual season as well. Just like you said, bro, he's taken another leap and he's emerged as a leader on this team for the Minnesota Timberwolves, which has led to them getting a third or second seed, if I'm not mistaken, in the Western Conference.
Third seed.
And then, you know, you look at that, this is what, year 3, if I'm not mistaken. This is his only 3rd year in the league. Like, and when you look at like what he's been able to achieve in that span of time, to be able to turn this from a team from basically no shows in the West to a contender in the West, he's been a large part of it. He's somebody that there's still elements to his game that he needs to improve. That's going to come with time. He's somebody that right now can make devastating impacts on the court, and we're seeing that in these playoffs. And you know, him emerging as a leader alongside the Mike Conleys and the Cats and even the Rudy Goberts, who are experienced players, all 3 of them in their own right. Like, he's definitely deserving of that All NBA selection. And then Kawhi Leonard is a funny one for me. I feel like when he's been on the court, he's obviously played the amount of games, so obviously he's eligible for this. He's been good. The Clippers, I think, have had they don't get a lot of scrutiny when they really should. Like, I haven't seen nothing since their exit, to be honest with you, right? In terms of, you know, it's an interesting one for me. Because I can't lie, I said it yesterday, on the stream. I was like, I feel like Jaylen Brown was snubbed for All NBA when I feel like it's been his best season in terms of all around play, like for the Celtics in his 7 seasons in the league. Like, and he definitely answered the critics based off of last season's performance when he got towards the end of the playoffs and things of that nature, and then also answer the critics to say that he wasn't deserving of that the highest contract in the NBA. So him getting snubbed here was a bit of an interesting one. But let's speak to Kawhi Leonard. I think he's been good for the Clippers when he's been healthy, and obviously towards the end of the season, it just the health started to deteriorate, and I feel like to a certain extent, him and Paul George were just trying to get to the amount of games that they needed so they could be eligible for these awards, to be honest with you, because we didn't see moments where we would have seen before where he would definitely take games off and rest. He could have done it because you look at their team, it's pretty stacked. The Harden's trades into the team allowed for that, but he still was determined to be able to get there. I'm trying to look at some of the statistics from Kawhi this year to see if it's any better than some of the years that we've seen, because this is why I'm just trying to figure that one out.
So his season this year at 23, almost 24 points per game. You've got 3.6 assists, so not really a career high in that point. His career high is just over 5 assists there. 6 rebounds, just under a block, 1.5 steals. Efficiency wise, when we look at field goal percentage, 52.5%. From 3, he's shooting 41, almost 42% from 3. So 68 games played. It's a decent season he's put together, and statistically. And then I look at Jaylen Brown's. You got 23 points per game. Obviously, you made the All-Star team with Kawhi as well. You got just over 4 rebounds. Sorry, 5.5 rebounds. You got 3.5 assists, 1.2 steals. So not too bad when it comes to Jaylen Brown either. He shot just above league average, I believe, is 35% from free. And then just under 50% in terms of efficiency, field goal percentage. So Jaylen Brown's had a nice season.
This may be just me being biased and like watching more Celtics games than I'm watching Clippers games, but I've felt more comfortable just seeing how efficient he's been over the course of the season, and he's grown as a leader and all of these types of things. But obviously, these things sometimes they don't even count when it comes to this type of stuff.
Yeah.
When you look at Kawhi's like statistics across the season, I think apart from field goal percentage, which may equate to him taking less shots because of just the makeup of the team now, you know, that was probably his career high. But then apart from that, it's been a pretty standard season when you compare it to some of the seasons he's had. But I feel like that one's a bit of a contentious one for me with Kawhi Leonard. I feel like, not to say he's not deserving, but maybe there's other players that we could have put ahead of him in there. And then I'm speaking to my bias when I say Jaylen Brown probably should have got that, but it is what it is. Let's talk about all NBA third team. So you got Devin Booker, Steph Curry, Tyrese Halliburton, LeBron James, and Domantas Sabonis. What do you think about that?
I think Tyrese Halliburton, for the beginning of his season, brilliant. After he came back from his hamstring injury, I believe, he wasn't the same player. And I think even to a certain extent, we've seen that in the playoffs where he's kind of warmed into series, but hasn't really been able to get it going and be his fully explosive self. But, you know, congratulations to him, Domantas Sabonis, everything that he does for that Sacramento team. I do think De'Aaron Fox gets unlucky in these situations because I do believe he is just as important as Domantas Sabonis is to Sacramento's successes. Obviously, this is a guard-heavy league. There's a lot of really good guards in the NBA. LeBron James, 20th straight All-NBA appearance. Not a great season for the Los Angeles Lakers, but again, when you look at him as an individual and the statistics that he was able to put up this season, sure, he was deserving of an All-NBA team. Stephen Curry, again, he had, you know, I think maybe in the earlier stages of the season, he was, you know, showcasing why he's still one of the top guards in the league. Golden State weren't able to put it together. Unfortunately for him, again, he had a little dip in form that was quite a long stretch for the Golden State Warriors, where they probably needed him to be a little better in order for them to capitalize on the flexibility of the Western Conference this year. And they just weren't able to put it together, Golden State. And then Devin Booker, same thing with him, really. It's been a strange season where he's had some injuries here and there. The Phoenix Suns have had a lot of inconsistencies. We haven't seen the big three of Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker play together a lot. But at the same time, when he's on the court, he will produce. Devin Booker, one of the top shooting guards in the league today, one of the top scorers, I believe. So it's a solid pick. I find it hard to argue with most of these guys. I guess some would argue, well, are they here because of legacy? Are they here not? But I'm not here to fuel those arguments too tough, because when I look at first, second, and third, all in their own right as individuals, they deserve to get those nods because of the level of play that they've showcased in certain parts of this 82-game season. Like Tyrese Halliburton is a perfect example of that. What we saw from him in the beginning stages of the season in the in-season tournament was an explosion. And then we saw the Indiana Pacers as well match that energy and really come out with a level of consistency, with a level of energy, playing at pace, shooting the ball at an efficient rate. Like, that team was a real surprise, not just in the playoffs, but throughout the regular season. And he was a massive part of that. So because of his drop off, unfortunately, you don't really get to finish much higher than other guys like Jaden Brunson and Anthony Edwards and so forth. So I think third team is a solid selection for him, and once again is well deserved.
I mean, when I look at it, that third team, it's interesting, right? Because now you can really start dissecting these players in a bit more detail, right? So I can't argue with LeBron James. I think, you know, when you've been the face of the league all this time and you can back it up, which he does and constantly does, this is year 21, 39 years old. Like, he played a lot of games, like the most he's probably played in about 4 or 5 years. So most he's played since he's been on the Lakers, I'm sure of that. I think what did he average this year in terms of points? Was it 29?
So let's see. LeBron this season, he averaged 25.7 points per game.
Jeez.
So still keeping up with when was the last season he averaged under 25 points per game? It was his rookie year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So it's incredible the level of scoring that he's been able to keep up over 21 seasons. And then you look at the other things that he does all over the court in terms of assists, in terms of rebounds, just being at 71 games played, which again is the most since his final season in Cleveland, where he played all 82.
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
I mean,
most he's played for the Lakers, like in this stage of his career, is actually crazy, right? But he's had no choice because they've really relied on him. So I mean, I can't argue with that one. Tyrese Haliburton, obviously, you can't argue with that. Like you said, bro, like he's had a really, really good season. Slight drop off, but that was because he was coming back from injury and he rushed back because he wanted to be able to make All NBA. Because, like you said, bro, these have implications on contracts, and for him specifically, yes, it has an implication on him specifically. That's the reason why he rushed back from his injury. But when you're contributing to the number one offense, got his first career triple-double as well this year, like you've seen the elevation as he's become the main man on the Indiana Pacers. Obviously, when the trade happened, people were like, what's happening with did Sacramento win the trade? Do you know what I mean? Like with Sabonis, like did they win the trade? But ultimately, it's actually swung the other way, literally in the space of a season. You've seen it, right? The Sacramento Kings got into the playoffs, first round, took the Golden State Warriors, who were the defending champions at that point, to a game 7 and eventually lost 50 points from Steph Curry. This season, you're seeing an Indiana Pacers team, regardless of their path to get into this conference finals, they've gotten there. And largely because of Tyrese Haliburton's kind of contribution, both on when it comes to on offense, when scoring, but then also when he's had games where he's not really been scoring, he still is able to pass the ball at a great rate. And like you saw some of the records he was breaking, in terms of assists per game. Like there was a stretch that he was just going on a crazy, like he's putting up 15, 16, 18 assists a game by himself. Like we saw that run that they were on and the way that they were scoring. So, I mean, I can't argue with that one. This is where now I'm not sure. Steph Curry, right? It's not been a vintage Steph Curry season, right? And there's been a lot of chatter about, it's time to break up the Golden State Warriors. It's time to break them up. And like I was lucky enough to be able to go and watch a game where he did roll back the years, scored 30 on the road against the Nets, right? And he still does the same Steph Curry things. Nothing has really changed from his game, but ultimately, it hasn't helped them to get to a playoffs. Like and when you miss out, there's other players that potentially could have gotten in here before him. I feel like this is a legacy choice.
Let me read out some names, right? That I'm just seeing on the website. Tyrese Maxey, De'Aaron Fox. And we're taking this thing seriously. Bam Adebayo's there. Paul George is another guy on the Clippers that you could maybe argue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So those are some names. So here's the thing, yeah, the rebuttal that I'll come with.
Go on.
Is Golden State struggles down to Steph Curry? I don't.
No, that's a perfect question. I won't say it's down to his struggles, right? Because we'll point. I know where I would place blame. If I was the front office, I would say Draymond and his ill discipline, and Klay Thompson just hasn't been at the level that we expect of them. Both of them, right? But then at the same time, you're looking at Podensky and Kuminga. They've had good seasons, really good seasons by the standards that I'm expecting of them, right? Steph he's been okay. It's not been a vintage season, not been an amazing season. He's definitely one of the leaders on this team, and like I don't think I've seen that kind of level of leadership that you would expect from him, especially when two of his mainstay teammates, two of his guys, like just have had off seasons, just generally. But I still kind of think that this is a legacy thing because you reeled off some names that got snubbed for this. I think they're more deserving of Steph Curry to be All NBA this year, if I'm just being honest. Remove Paul George, maybe not him, but definitely Bam, definitely Tyrese Maxey. We can't even lie. He had the keys for Philly. He had the keys for Philly because Embiid, after a certain point, he couldn't play anymore.
You know, I mean, you said one guy, Jaylen Brown.
I mean, Jaylen Brown's
co-star on the second best, co-star on the best team in the NBA.
I just feel like he got snubbed, you know, and there's no explanation for it. Why? When everybody, if by all accounts, they said that this is one of his best seasons or his best season. So, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, we'll move on. Domantas Sabonis. Now, I think this is the one that people will speak about when they talk about the snub for Bam, particularly because we also had the little debate earlier on in the season. I don't know if you remember, where Bam or Sabonis, because like both of them do different things, but they do them very well. And Sabonis has gotten the nod over him. I think obviously you look at the double record that he's been able to amass. That obviously is going to stand him in good stead as always, just efficient from that on that end of the floor. His impact on the team is actually a lot larger than what people think. Like it's even underrated to a certain degree. Everyone looks in the direction of De'Aaron Fox, but without Domantas Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox doesn't get some of the looks that he gets. Do you know what I'm saying? Because he's his willingness to be able to set those screens in the pick and roll, to be able to give that separation for De'Aaron Fox to either be able to come off the pick and then drive, or to just pull up from free. Like it's one of those ones where like I can't argue against it, but there's also room for someone else to jump in there. Like, do you know what I'm saying? To take that position. And then I think Devin Booker, yeah, that's a strange one for me. I don't see why. Like, I don't see how he gets into this All NBA. This is looking like because his name is Devin Booker, because it's not been the best season for him at all. If we're being totally honest, it's not. The injuries have disrupted this flow. As I said, we're looking at him now, and I'm saying to him, he's at a crossroads right now in his career, because this is what, year 7 in the league, if I'm not mistaken. When did he come into the league? 2015? No.
Year 9, bro.
Year 9. You see, look, we're talking about year 9. And now I'm looking at him and I'm saying you're at a crossroads in your career right now after 9 years, right? Where you came in number 1 pick, right? I believe. Was he? Number 1 or number 2? Was he 1 or 2?
Let me see real quick. 2015 draw. I feel like he was a little lower down, you know.
Yeah, maybe been 4 or 5, maybe. I don't know.
Because I think was let me see NBA draft.
No, yeah, he was low. He was like,
yeah. So Cat was number 1. Then we had D'Lo, Jahlil Okafor to Philly, Porzingis, Hazonia. Like Devin Booker was number 13.
Fine, okay. I'll put that aside. But I'm looking at him after this season and I'm saying, you're at a crossroads now. So how does a player who's in the crossroads of their career, based off of this season that we've seen now, you've now seen 9 full seasons. I'm looking at you and I'm saying you are at a crossroads, but you've made all NBA third team over certain players that we've mentioned. It doesn't make sense for me, right? But he's been picked, so it continues. That stretch continues. It's one of those now. You're going into year 10. Are you going to bounce back? I don't know. We'll see.
Hey, it's crazy to think Devin Booker's going into his 10th season, bro.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. The time is just moving.
He's a vet.
He's a vet now. The time is moving. The time is moving. Cool. Let's talk about all defense first team. So it's Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis, Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year, Herb Jones, and Victor Wembanyama. Now, what do you think about those selections?
Interesting. Interesting. I think when you look at Bam Adebayo, I know our guy Chino has been repping Bam. He's even been telling Miami Heat, you need to do more to tell the league that he is an all-defensive player. And the impact that he has for that Miami Heat team, off the court, on court numbers, phenomenal. Just everything that he does. You know, he may not be one of those guys that gets blocks after blocks, you know, high in the league and statistically in terms of blocks per game, but he does so much more to prevent teams from getting to the rim. So phenomenal season. Unfortunately, it wasn't the season that Miami would have hoped for. Big up to David inside.
Big up, David.
We had AD. Yeah. AD had interesting comments saying, well, I'll never be a defensive player of the year. I hear it. Look, for the Lakers, when they're at their best, it's about buying into defense. Now, unfortunately, they don't have a lot of personnel that can make them a good defensive team, and that's what made them a championship side at the end of the day, all the way back in 2020. They moved away from that, and then they have guys that they can't rely upon in terms of offense either. So they're caught in the middle a little bit, and that's never a nice place to be for an NBA team. But I still think Anthony Davis is one of the best defensive forwards in the league. Rudy Gobert, what can you say? Anchored the Timberwolves defense. I know, again, guys will question his credentials and say, well, when he's off the court, they're still a great defensive team, but Rudy Gobert is much a part of that anyway, as a Jaden McDaniels is. You know what I mean? As a Anthony Edwards is. You know, it's a team collective, and no doubt about it. 4-time DPOY. You've seen it in Utah. You see it here in Minnesota. He deserves his credit. Herb Jones is somebody that I was happy to see make that all NBA defensive team because of his impact and the credit that he's gotten a lot of credit this season playing for that New Orleans team. They've had their ups and downs, no doubt about it, when it comes to injuries to Zion, even though he's been available for the most part. Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum. But when you look at Herb Jones and his ability to defend and guard some of the toughest guys in that Western Conference, he lives up to expectations. He rises to the occasion. So he deserves to get that nod. And then you got Victor Wembanyama, who, if I'm correct, was the youngest guy to make an all defensive team.
Yeah, I think you're correct. I think I saw that stat.
So I think he beat DeJounte Murray or something like that. I may be incorrect, but I saw a stat about that the other day. So you know, it's an interesting season because he was in the running for DPOY. I believe he was in the final round.
Yeah, top 3. I think
yeah.
Did he come second?
He may have.
I think he may have come in voting, you know.
Yeah. So when you look at what he was able to do this season, even though the Spurs were not a good team at all, but he was still able to produce at a high level on the defensive end, and his impacts there, like, it's scary, bro. So I can't wait to see again what he's able to do next year when he has, you know, a nice little off season, a nice little summer to rest up, even like work on his skills on both ends of the floor again and come back a better player. What will the Spurs be able to do in terms of working together as a collective and improving over the summer as well? Maybe getting to understand each other on the court a little better. Be interesting to see what kind of moves they can potentially make as well. So yeah, I think all of those 5 guys deserve it of that all defensive team nod. And again, when you look at each of those guys, they're crucial parts of that defensive structure for each of those teams that we're looking at and speaking about today.
Man like David, I'm going to welcome you to the show. What are you saying, bro? Hey, man like David.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
How you doing, man? You good?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Yeah, all good, bro. All good. Hey, we're talking all defense first team. What do you think about the choices, bro?
It just makes sense. Like, you can't make an argument for someone not to be on that team. Like, you can have individual preferences on the number of bigs that are on there, but it's hard to take any of them off. Yeah.
fair, man. I hear you, man. Like, I mean, for me, I think Herb Jones, obviously, you know, when this is what, year 3 for him to kind of elevate his game on the defensive end, like, and basically set the tone for New Orleans this year on the defensive end, it's been really good to see. Obviously, he was a second round pick. I don't think he was even expecting to be here like after 3 years, like in his career in the NBA. So for him to be able to make it all defense first team is an amazing achievement for him. I think with Wembanyama, I think it was going to be inevitable because you see the way he defends. Like, he's not. You would think, like, at his size, the way he moves, like we were seeing highlights even in early season, and I was just like, this guy is 7'5". Why is he moving like this? So and that was just on the offensive end. Defensively, he's sliding his feet. Like, his lateral movement is really good for a big guy like that. And then obviously it helps with the fact that he's got a long wingspan, so you know he can reach and just like block something with relative ease and things like that. But then obviously getting his body in front when he's defending too. So it's like, and he's getting steals too because of the long limbs. Once again, he can just literally just poke his hand out there and boom, he's got the steal. So it's a pretty interesting one. You can't argue against Bam. Like, Chino comes on here every week and he's got something to say about Bam. Like, but we all know that Bam is a really good defender for his size in terms of how he can defend through all 5 positions on the court. Like, you can't argue about that. We've spoken about Anthony Davis and the season he's had for the Los Angeles Lakers individually. I don't think I could argue there. And then you got a DPOY. He has to be part of this. It'd be very strange. It'd be strange to not put the DPOY in all first team defense because it just doesn't make sense. Do you know what I mean?
I think that happened once, right? Where the DPOY was in was it Marc Gasol?
Yeah,
when he was DPOY and he wasn't in the first team All-NBA or something like that.
Yeah, because that's a strange one. You know, when that happens, you have to question what the hell happened there. Because
that was what, 2012, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember. You might need to fact check that one. But yeah, to add to what you're saying about the Wemby, I don't know if you all remember the clip where I think it was the Grizzlies. They had a 3-on-1 break, and like it made no sense. And that clip alone is Wemby's argument to be in first team All-NBA. Like, that clip alone where someone is running, he gives it to the big guy gives it back to him, he gives it back to him, and then it's like they just sent the ball back out. So
for sure. Let's talk all defense second team. So Alex Caruso, Drew Holiday, Jaden McDaniels, Jalen Suggs, and Derek White. David, I'm gonna let you kick off, man. What do you think of
obviously? Since you're the Celtic fan here, I'll mention your 2 Celtic boys over there. They're the best team in the NBA. We're the best team in the NBA in the regular season, and Derek White was phenomenal. Like, the number of block shots for a guard that he has, like, he does it year in, year out, is incredible. And we already know what Drew Holiday brings, like, year in, year out. Like, and I think he mentioned on the podcast is this year he kind of played a bit of a free safety, whereas when he was in Milwaukee he had to be like a primary ball defender. Whereas on this team he was able to play like kind of the Draymond role where you're floating around playing free safety, and he it was a nice experience for me. Enjoyed it. And you can see there's a sturdiness and a solidness that the Celtics have this year that, even though you guys had some of it last year, like there's an upper level to it that you can see this year. So Alex Caruso has always been team hustle. He plays hard. He's also a very smart defender. Like you can see, he spends time in the scouts report. The only person I'll make a case for that should have been in here is Brandon Podziemski. I'm just saying, rookie. The number of charges he drew this season on ball defense, he's not the greatest, but I'm just hoping one of my Warrior players will be on there. But you can't argue with this list. Like, I feel like this year the NBA defensive teams was, nobody can say they were left out or can say, oh, this guy didn't deserve it. It's Jaden McDaniels. We see how he's playing in the playoffs, what he did on KD, in the Nuggets series, like chasing Michael Porter around. He's been brilliant, and I'm sure we'll dive into yesterday's game and how the series will look alike. So I'll leave my thoughts on Jaden McDaniels. Jalen Suggs, to be honest, I didn't watch enough Magic, so
yeah.
But they were a good defensive team, so I'm sure he had something to do with that.
For sure. CM, what do you think, bro? What do you think of this? These five?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what David's saying. When you look at the guys up there, potentially could have been an argument for Lou Dort to be on the second team, potentially being on the top seed. The NBA being a big part of their perimeter defense. A guy who gets a lot of plaudits across the association for his ability to being one of the top defenders in the league. I can't argue with a guy like Drew. Yeah.
But let me ask you, who are you taking off to add Lou Dort? Because we always can put a name out there, but who are you taking off?
That's a good question.
I mean, that's the tough one. I'm not taking off Drew Holiday. I'm not taking off Jaden McDaniels, Derek White. Again, I know Jaden Suggs has been a big part of that Orlando defense, and credit to him, he's really been able to carve out a kind of opportunity by elevating his game defensively, keeping himself on the court, and then contributing in crucial moments offensively as well. It's a difficult one, and again, it's tough to argue Alex Caruso. Now, potentially, you could. If I'm looking at guys you could replace, maybe it's the Alex Caruso that's there, but you can't argue with him because he is, and again, a top guy, has been a top defensive guard in the NBA for the last few years. But if I'm looking at a guy potentially on the second team, maybe it's an Alex Caruso.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can't argue, man. Lou Dort is an underrated shout, and we forget about him. And I feel like that sometimes when it comes to this voting, sometimes you do forget about some of these smaller market teams and some of the impacts that they have, right? Like some of the players have on those teams. But yeah, like you guys have said pretty much everything you need to say. I mean, I can speak to my Celtics guys like it's been like when the trade happened for Drew Holiday, I was like, yeah, it's a problem. People are gonna be in hell. Like when them two are just gonna be there. Your front court is there defending the way they are. Like your back court is defending the way they are. Like and like what you say?
Listen, right. Hold on. Rolling. CM. Who up here? David? Is this David?
Yeah.
David. Yeah. I apologize. My apologies. To whoever is watching out there. I apologize. My apologies. My brothers, listen though. I am tired, bro. Like right now it's 11:53 in Hawaii, 53. And this morning I went on hoop and I was tired, bro. And I came upstairs around 9:40. I was like, let me take an hour nap, 10 to 11, get on the show with Rolling. Because I invited David. I'm like, yeah, we about to have a good show. I got up. I'm like, all right, 11 o'clock, show about to start, about to be 11. I said, ooh, I was sleeping for 2 hours. I said, "Ooh." My bad, though. We can continue the show, bro. I'm just tired, bro.
Nah, it's so good, my bro. Like you're enjoying the island right now. So like, I'm not disturbing you, fam.
No,
I
it's
can't lie.
coming to an end,
I
man. Like,
know.
bro,
man.
this month though, Monday, is it just me or this month? Like, we're at the end of this month already. And
Roger.
today, though, by the way, today is the wedding anniversary. Me and the wife been married for 7 years. We've been together for
Congratulations.
Congratulations, my bro.
Thanks, man. But we ain't did none today. We're gonna do the little luau, the little island people thing
Oh,
where
yeah?
they go and
Hey.
they beat the drum and all that on Monday.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nah,
man.
enjoy,
Thank you.
enjoy. But
But
bro,
yeah, bro.
hey, talk to me. I want you to give us your perspective on Bam, man. Like, because you wanted to say something about it yesterday, just in terms of the snub for
Respectfully, we need to take away some of these people votes. Let me find this guy name. Let me find his name. There's a culprit. We got his name. Garcia something.
The Sabonis one, yeah.
Ignacio Garcia.
Thank you, David. Brother,
Mm.
you will not get another NBA vote, and you're a disgrace. Because you voting Sabonis MVP, like, what are we doing? What are we really doing, bro? But respectfully though, Bam was robbed. Did Sabonis stat pad his little triple doubles with his assist, dribble, and off assist? Yes, he did. But did he make an all-star? No. People might say he was snubbed. Okay, but he didn't make an all-star. Bam made his all-star. Like, he made it because he deserved to be there. Because why? He was keeping us afloat because Jimmy don't show up before All-Star break. Jimmy didn't show up at all this year. He got third in the Defensive Player of the Year voting. He was first on all defensive team, but he's not on all NBA. I wanted him to get all NBA third. I didn't care about second or first. I know he's not going first, but third team because I need my owner to pay up. I need him to pay up. And that's where Bam would have become eligible for the Supermax. Someone like Jaylen Brown, though, let me talk about Jaylen Brown not making it. That's a disgrace, too.
I said
saw him off it. Jaylen Brown not making it is a disgrace. Jaylen Brown been the better Celtic all season. To me, he's been way better than Jason Tatum all season. But Bam didn't make it. Like, listen, he put his tweet out. Bam put his tweet out. Bam ain't active on Twitter. And he tweeted yesterday, he was like, I got time today. Respectfully, you don't know ball. That's what he told someone on Twitter. Bam, he put the meme out, the what's his name? The Cam
Newton, in it.
Yeah, the Cam Newton meme. So that should fuel him. That's definitely gonna fuel him because Bam is a guy like this. I know my center, he hold grudges. Like, look how Bam play against. Like, go watch any tape of Bam against Jaren Jackson, Bam against Sabonis. Look how he plays against. Like, the way he play against Sabonis and what's his name, Jaren Jackson and Miles Turner. He play extra hard. Like, for some reason he don't like those guys for votes and different reason over the years. But listen, I know my center is coming again next year, pause. And yeah, it was like at the end of the season we saw the 3-point got in his game. Now it's gonna be more plays running from him popping out instead of driving. And let's see what guard we get to feed him. But that's what it is. I'm over the NBA voting though.
Yeah,
I don't know how David feel about Sabonis getting 13 because I know he a Warrior fan and he hate Sacramento.
Yeah, nah. The whole NBA voting process, I don't know about it either. It's like a lot of these guys don't watch basketball. Like, they just read a stat sheet and then they come in and give you plus minus, but they don't really watch the games. I mean, I don't watch all the games, but it's not my responsibility. So everybody has their favorite team, their local market, but all of it is just reading stat sheets. Like somebody sees a triple double, and it's like how much of them is in garbage time, how much of them is really impacting the winning and stuff like that. Whereas in Bam's case, like there's so many players that like we throw this can guard 1 through 5. I think Bam is legit the only player, maybe AD, that can guard 1 through 5 consistently and very well, like an above average level. Like it's not oh, this is a mismatch. So and offensively, he did his thing this year. Like he was a bit more aggressive this year. Like even before he started shooting threes at the end of the season, you can see like he was taking back his floater, free throw line jumper more often this year. So I think he deserves a shout. But then again, one of these things like who are you taking off? I don't know. But
you know what? Because I remember asking Ronan this question. Yeah, I don't know if Chino was here. David definitely wasn't here. We speak about it seems like we speak about this all the time when it comes to awards, all NBA selections, all defense, etc. Is there too much responsibility on the media to determine who wins these awards, who gets these all NBA nods? Should the players have a part to play in NBA awards, in all NBA selections, all defensive selection? Because at the end of the day, these are the guys going up against each other for 82 games, 2 games a season or 4 games a season. So should the players have more of an opportunity to also determine these awards and selections?
Chino tweeted it out ages ago. Like,
there you go.
Like, he tweeted it out ages ago. I remember him and like I agreed with it at the time. I was like what you're saying is right, bro. Like the players, they know each other. Like it's a community. It's a sorority.
Yeah, brotherhood, man.
Brotherhood. Man. Like, so like they see.
I disagree with that a little bit because at the end of the day, there's some kind of animosity. For example, do you think let's say Draymond Green, right? How he's talking about Gobert or he's talking about Nurkic or something like that. Like there'll be some factor of players. Like we see in All-Star votes, sometimes I know that's All-Star and it's not all NBA, right? But All-Star also affects players' contracts and stuff like that. When they vote, they'll vote like somebody on their team that they just like the person. So yes, the media is not great. But giving it to the players to have his own challenges. I don't know if they can find some kind of balance. I know somebody raised up a point about maybe like respectable OGs, not like the jealous ones, right? Like everybody has some kind of respectful Jamal Crawford. Like
you can't put Shaq. You can't put Shaq there because
Here's the thing, right? So you have the NBA Players Association, which I believe is led by CJ McCollum now. So do you put together a panel involving the NBPA, a panel of guys who are respected without the league, they stay out of drama, they rather like, for example, you have a Mike Conley, you have a CJ, you have you know, I mean, you pick a certain collection of guys who you can trust to be unbiased.
That makes a bit more sense. You have a panel of guys that have been in the league. There's no biases, no favoritism, because like David's right. Like you can't put Draymond in there and allow him to vote. You know he'll vote his guys, even though they had poor seasons. Do you know what I mean? Like he's because like he's been with them. Like so he's gonna speak about Clay and Steph and whomever else because he's been around.
That's what I'm saying though. It gotta come down to. It have to start being percentile now. Like media, like okay, media can vote, players can vote, but let fans vote also. And like everybody's there's gonna be a bias in there, but the numbers don't lie. The computer ain't gonna lie. Matter of fact, AI is getting so good. Shit, put numbers in the computer and make the AI generates it. Fuck it. Because the humans are idiots anyways, so it doesn't matter anyways. But I mean, but it gonna come to a point though where Batman gonna sit down on the paper, just as an example, and be like, Jimmy's an all-star. Like, this fucking brother haven't been helping me all season. Like, fuck that. I'm not voting him all-star. You know what I'm saying? Tyler Arrow, he don't even have a 30-point game yet this season. I'm not voting for him all-star. Like, you gotta, those type of common sense gotta kick in, bro. You can't be like, he's on my team, I'm gonna vote for him. Like, and I know a guy like Draymond, he will do that because you hear him, he talk like that. Like, Draymond still thinks Steph Curry is the best player in the NBA today. Like, that's fine. That's his guy. That's fine. And not saying I'm by the way, guys, I'm not saying Steph is bad. I'm not saying Steph is just not the best player right now in the league. Like, it's your Jokic, your Luka, like your Shea, those guys, those three that finish in the top three and more. But just an example.
Embiid up there as well.
He needs to stay healthy. You cannot like. Because here's the thing. Yes, Embiid play games and blah blah blah. But by the way, guys, what do you guys think about the What do you guys think about the three Man United shirt, man? Them thing is fire.
Why have they been released?
He just went off topic.
Wait, how did we get here? What?
Wow.
He knows. Hey.
He's still in the nap, bro. He's still napping, bro. What's going on?
You guys didn't see it?
I send it to us so we can see it, please. Tag us in something that you see.
Okay.
I'm gonna swing it back to all defense second team. I think like you can't argue with the picks, man. Like Jalen Suggs, it's an interesting one, right? Because when CM brings out Lou Dort, I'm like, like the Magic were good, but it's not. I don't know if he was the leader on that team in regards to it, right? Because they're a big team, just generally, man. Big bodies, man. Like everybody's 6'10 plus, like on that team.
I can't even think of like a net negative defender on their roster, like somebody where like, oh, he's a bad defender. It's like everyone is like average to good.
They're good, so it's like I need to watch a bit more to be able to understand. I mean, just watching him in the playoffs, he was a bit of a liability on offense, to be honest with you. At times, like he would be taking shots that maybe he shouldn't be taking. But I'm not going to argue that. Alex Caruso, we know, is a lockdown defender. He clamps everybody. Like, he's just annoying. He's a very annoying kind of player, like a pest at times, right? You just can't get away from him. He always stays in front of you. And then Jaden McDaniels, like, he's a psychopath, man. Like, I don't know how, like, he's like a really quiet guy. He doesn't
get cooked by my brother, though.
I mean...
I'm gonna do a lot, Kyrie, getting cooked by my Muslim brother.
Yesterday was crazy, though. Yesterday we're gonna talk about it. But yeah, I mean, but he's
they say wallahi, they can't guard him. Wallahi, they can't guard him. Wallahi, they can't guard him.
You see what he did to Aaron Gordon in the series against the Denver Nuggets, man. Like, that alone kind of tells you exactly what he's on. Like, he's willing to go straight up against a very impactful player. So I can't argue there. Let's go into all rookie first teams as well. Big up to NN who's jumped in here. He's out here trying to get something out of us, but it ain't happening, fam. Don't worry, your team is at home. We spoke yesterday, bro. So it's Chet Holmgren, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Brandon Miller, Brandon Podziemski, and Victor Wembanyama. So what do you guys think? Chino, we'll kick you off there. What do you think of that all rookie first team? Hey, Chino, he's definitely on.
He's back.
You're back, yeah? You hear that?
Yeah. About the rookie first team?
Yeah. What do you think of it?
That's a good first team. Like, I mean, Wemby, Shet, right?
Yeah.
Wemby, Shet, Jaime, and Brandon Miller. That four, solid, and Podziemski, solid too. I mean, like, if you're gonna take out anyone, you'll look at probably the Przinski or Jaime, but Jaime had a solid season for us, like especially when Jimmy was hurt. Also, Przinski was very good for the Warriors, and where the Warriors and the Heat draft, it wouldn't have been matter whichever one either organization took. They were gonna ball out either way. Hold on. I'm going past this Alexa. She playing music. I'll be back.
Bit.
I see. And what do you think of that all rookie first team?
You know what? I agree with all of them. I think it was a pretty straightforward decision. The rookie. When you look at all of the players that are on there, David mentioned the impact of Podziemski, what he was able to do in Golden State in his rookie year. Obviously, Chet Holmgren coming in and being a big part of why that team made the jump of being in the mid 40s to a top team in the NBA, first seed. All the other guys, massive Victor Wembanyama, obviously being a defensive player of the year candidate on the all defensive team. Like it's pretty self-explanatory. Probably the easiest out of all NBAs we've looked at today.
Yeah. David, what's your thoughts on that rookie first team?
I'm glad B Pods was on there. Well deserved. I know this takes us back to Donovan Mitchell, Ben Simmons days, where about Chet Holmgren. Like, I still don't think they should be given that rookie year, because you spending a year traveling with NBA teams, like there's an acquaintance, right? It's like the team knows you, like there's a familiarity with the team, like a year before you actually put a ball on the floor. So I'm still not in favor of that, but a rookie who impressed me so much this year, I think he has potential to be like one of the best players in the league, is Gigi Jackson. He went to the second team. But
yeah.
If I was the one to make the rules and Chet wasn't qualified, I'll slide Gigi to first team. Like, he impressed me a lot. Like he's 6'9", he can shoot, he's physical, you can tell he doesn't understand the defensive side of the game, but his effort and the physical tools are there. But yeah, I have no complaints with the first team. Jaime, for a lot of the season, was steady. Like, he played like a grown man's game. Podziemski was like he led the Warriors in plus minus all season long. We have Steph Curry, you have Draymond Green, like you have these players who are impactful players, and all season long he made an impact, like being at the ref at the right time, like for his size, being an elite rebounder for his size, like taking charges, like pushing the tempo, hitting clutch step by three. So he doesn't have the ceiling like the other players have, but I think
David,
he did enough. Yeah, Chino.
He had a better season than Clay stinky booty ass.
Hey, no Clay slander over here.
Yo, bro, if the Magic pay that man, bro, they are a trash franchise, bro.
Hey, Clay still has some juice. I'm just saying.
No, Clay's trash.
I'm just saying.
No, you're right.
But yeah, I mean, looking at the Warriors' offense, the motion, and then again too, we're undersized. A lot of the season, Clay is playing power forward, and it takes a lot of your legs, right? He's already coming back from a lot of serious injuries. So if he's just standing in the corner and Paolo is just cooking and just swings it up to him, that's a different shot than him having to run off a few pin downs, having to set an off-ball screen and get open and then take a shot. It's a different dynamic. So, but yeah, back to the all rookie first. I can't really complain about anybody out there. Just wish Gigi could slide up a little bit. Amen Thompson was also great, but second team works for him because he was very solid.
Because Jaime deserved that. Like, Jaime was up there in the rookie of the year, and he just started.
No. That's what I said. I said I would personally. I don't think Chet should have qualified.
Oh, okay.
Because he was in the NBA for a year. Like, traveling with the NBA team gives you some kind of experience. Like, you have that rapport. You already have that relationship with the squad, right? Whereas these guys are coming in carrying the vets bags and trying to sort themselves out in the NBA. It's a different feel. But
that's how the man them feel about what's his name, Ben Simmons, man.
Ben Simmons, yeah.
Hey, Ben Simmons been a pussy his whole career, you know. Like that nigga been a bitch since his rookie year, bro. Like, bro.
Nah, we
Hey,
were talking about it yesterday, boy. Like, because I'm still thinking about the Nets here. They're gonna try. I think they're gonna do this again. They're gonna try and slap together one super team and see if they can do something in the playoffs. Yeah, but it's like,
but who are they getting?
that's
What?
if I was Joe Tsai and Sean Marks, I'm going all out for Donovan Mitchell. I'm going one more time. First time is a
Bro.
charm.
Enough is enough, bro. Enough is
First time
enough.
is a charm.
Just accept your fate. You have failed.
I don't want to rebuild, innit? If I was them, I don't want to fail.
Bro, accept failure, man. The Brooklyn Nets just need to leave it alone, bro. This is 2 times now that
they were close.
Close ain't good. Close ain't close enough, bro. Because of the things that we've been hearing that was going on in their front office, it is a pigsty in that place. It is an absolute pigsty, bro. And we're talking about, Chino knows about this, yeah. In JA, you got your hog pen, bro. But you ain't cleaning your pigs. You ain't cleaning the hog pen. So the thing's dirty. Every time you walk in there, it stinks, bro. That's Brooklyn right now.
And y'all is stink, fam. You can smell, when someone in the neighborhood have a hog pen, you be like, bro, you need to clean that, bro. And you think, like, you walk by it and you see it and you think that's mud. That's shit, bro. That's shit. That's the Brooklyn Nets, bro. You think that's mud in the arena, bro? That's Sean Marks shitting all over the place, bro.
It's so funny. I swear, like it's gonna be interesting to see what they're doing. We'll discuss like as we get into it and stuff. But yeah, it's hilarious. All rookie first team. Look, I agree with everything that everybody said here, man. Obviously, Podziemski is like, I mean, he's a really good player. From what I've seen of him this year, like he plays like a grown man. Like, do you know what I mean? He makes the right decisions, and like I'm not surprised at him having the highest plus minus on the Warriors this season because he doesn't really make the wrong choices at all, on both ends of the floor. So I'm not surprised there. Brandon Miller, he's had a good rookie year, man. Underrated, to be honest with you. Like, he's been carrying a little bit for them in the absence of Melo Ball. It's something maybe wasn't especially with the roster reshaping midway through like the season, with PJ Washington out the door, Terry Rozier also out the door. Like he's even had to take an even greater role than maybe he was expecting in his first season. So yeah, shout out to him. You can't argue against Wemby. Wemby's just, I don't even know what to say about that guy, man. It's just crazy, like what he's been able to achieve in his first year, and like he's definitely outlived the hype that was surrounding his name. Chet, like I hear David's points surrounding that.
I hear you, but I'm gonna say this too.
Go on.
The agenda they're cooking for Wemby is nasty, but he deserves Rookie of the Year. But them Defensive Player of the Year vote, I don't know.
I mean, I said it was for the agenda.
I need to know the criteria. And Shane Battier said something, and it's true.
I seen
the
it.
NBA, it's true. You can tell they hate Bam. They hate Bam because how is he so good one-on-one when you can't physically touch anyone in the NBA? You can blow by anybody, and if you don't, they touch them, it's a foul. But how does he not get in foul trouble? How is he good? How is he able to?
Because they don't call those illegal screens.
That's what somebody ain't saying. And
they don't call those illegal screens. If they started calling more illegal screens, he'd be in foul trouble, boy. I'm telling you now.
Hey, as a Warriors fan, I thought you were attacking me when you mentioned illegal screens.
Exactly. Bam and Draymond Green set screens the same way.
Hey,
God,
but Draymond got championships, so like that's what he would say. He'd be like, "Yeah, I got championships though, so you know."
Man said the championship pedigree negates from getting those calls.
Listen, Bam screen setting should have won us 2 championships. His teammates just been ass. Back to Wemby though. They're cooking their agenda for him. But the guy he is a good player. I mean, he is a good player. What was he on the All NBA?
Who?
First
Was Wemby All NBA?
No,
NBA.
Not all rookie though. All rookie and all defensive first team.
Oh, okay.
But they're trying to cook. Yeah, look, the agenda they're trying to cook is that he's better than LeBron James. Like, you know, that's what they want. Like, so imagine he got rookie of the year, defensive player of the year, first year. They would have been like, yeah, it's over now. It's over. But
best rookie of all time.
Best rookie of all time. They're trying to cook it, like, but it's not enough. It was a good year though. Good first year, I'll tell you that. And let's round this off with all rookie second team. So Keontae George from the Utah Jazz, Gigi Jackson, as David mentioned, Eric Lively had a really good year. I think he's doing just a slide. He could have just slid into that first team for me when I watched him. He could have slid in there. Amen Thompson and then Casey Wallace of OKC. So I'm gonna pass this over to CM. What do you think of that all rookie second team?
Again, you know, those 5 guys deserve to get that nod for their play. You know, David made a good point with Gigi Jackson, his, you know, being one of the youngest guys in the league and showcasing the talent that he has to perform on both ends of the floor. Amen Thompson, the Houston Rockets, they had, you know, promising stretches across this season. And something to build upon when you look at, you know, Ime Udoka, the guys that they brought in, the Fred VanVleets and co. They brought in some experience to really help out some of those younger guys. So, you know, expecting potentially a jump from the Houston Rockets next year, and he will be a big part of that defensively. If he can improve offensively as well, that will be an added bonus. Casey Wallace, I can speak a lot from him and OKC and his impact defensively. When you bring a guy like that off the bench, the intensity that he brings on the perimeter, he had some big plays in the playoffs as well. Just the tenacity that he brings, the ability to knock down the shot, and again, can improve offensively too. I kind of look at him as a similar guy to Lou Dort, where Lou Dort comes into the NBA, his calling card is defense. And over the years, he becomes a much improved 3-point shooter to the point where he's one of the best in his position this season, you know, so, you know, big things to come from him. And yeah, for the most part, I agree. Derek Lively, big fan of what he's been able to do all season long for the Dallas Mavericks. His combination, I believe, with Daniel Gafford in those center positions of those guys rotating has been a huge success for the Dallas Mavericks, not just in the regular season, but also the playoff period. It's been really important, you know, and we saw that in the semifinals of the Western Conference, and we're seeing it again now. And I'm sure we will continue to see that throughout this conference finals period.
David, what do you think of this all rookie second team, bro?
You could tell Lively is young. Or was that me or David? Because I don't know.
No, you go ahead.
Nah, go, Chino, go on.
I didn't even know I was muted. You can tell Lively is young, but the talent's there. The height definitely is there, and the athleticism. I think the Mav, if everything, the development go right, I think the Mav find their Tyson Chandler replacement.
Yeah.
All them years, you know. I think they got one, man. Like, there's a lot of time you can tell Luka and Kyrie is frustrated with him. Because when they put it up for him, he put it down on the ground. But all they want him to do is just grab it and lounge. And you know, he will learn. He will learn because he's young. He will learn. I didn't know Gigi Jackson was the youngest player in the NBA, but it makes sense though the way he act. Be jumping and screaming about LeBron and stuff. that LeBron, right? That's his favorite player. He be fanboying. Oh my God, he be fanboying. But that's a good second team, though. It's like I said, it's a good team. I do like Lively a lot. He do play Lively.
He's really good, man. Like, and the thing about it is he started the season obviously as their starting center before the trade happened, right? And it's like he was holding his own, to be fair, but I think it's good by the organization to try and get some experience around him because he needs to learn from that perspective as well to come off the bench and like him starting maybe it would have gone that way, but maybe they wouldn't have been in the playoffs or this late stage anyway if they didn't make those moves, to be honest with you. Like he's a good player, but I don't know if he's that impactful of a player to kind of lead a team or help lead a team into a conference final. So shout out to Saul Thompson though. We went down early, but he was having a historic season by his own standards for the Detroit Pistons. So it's a shame that he couldn't finish the season because I was really interested to see what he was going to do. Obviously it wouldn't have impacted what would have happened with Detroit, but he was having a really good season up until the point he got injured. His brother kind of took over after kind of finding himself out of the starting lineup at the start of the season. I think the Houston Rockets kind of like aided his development by giving him some minutes off the bench more often at the start, and then as he became more comfortable within the league, then you could really showcase his athleticism and his ability on defense too. And Keontae George for the Utah Jazz, he's had a really good season. It's underrated. A lot of people haven't really been watching him. He can catch fire from free. Like he's a shooter. So I mean, he's already built up a reputation for that this year, and I like what he brings on offense, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of his development year two. So, but yeah, David, what do you think, bro?
Yeah, I agree with what everyone is saying. Like, I just took a quick scan on the draft, and it's like there were a lot of players that disappointed. Like, this draft's like Bryce Sensabaugh, Cam Whitmore. There are a lot of players that you expected more, but I'll just shout out this one player, Toumani Camara for the Portland Trailblazers. Defensively, he was a menace. Like, yeah, the Trailblazers were terrible, but the first time I took notice of him was when Warriors played Portland, and Steph had 7 points at the end of his streak of consecutive games with a 3-pointer made, and he was wearing Steph's uniform that day. It was crazy, and ever since, anytime I happen to watch the Blazers, you can see he's an impactful player, like a very, very good defender. But quick question. Who was your biggest disappointment in this rookie class? I know we're giving all NBA, but who do you think was the biggest disappointment in this rookie class?
Ooh, that's an interesting one, man. I'm gonna have to have a look at this list.
Jalen Bucciafino is out there. Scoop.
Ooh,
the hype Scoop had coming in.
Yeah, Scoop's one's big. He was what, third pick?
Third, yeah.
Yeah, he led the league in terms of rookies for assists per game. But
he picked up towards the end when they kind of stopped playing Malcolm Brogdon and.
But yes, at a certain point he got sent down to the G League as well. To play some games there. That's a big one, to be fair. He had a lot of hype coming into the league. And then,
I think that's the thing when you look at the profile of player, right? You think of his athleticism coming into the league, but in terms of overall efficiency, he just really struggled. He wasn't able to put it together offensively at all.
I'm trying to think who.
Oh, Jet Howard, the Magic 11th pick.
Yeah, like there was supposed to be something from him. We didn't really to be honest, he didn't really make too many waves for Orlando this year.
Did anybody get to see?
He was supposed to be the shooter they needed, and
he did anybody get to see Bilal Koulibaly? I think it was in Washington.
I watched him a little bit.
He showed some promise.
He's gonna be good. He's gonna be good. Like I basically look at him like Giannis when he first came in the league. That's how, like, watch him carefully. Like, he's really athletic, yeah. Like,
I was about to say it. Scotty Barnes a little bit.
Yeah, you might be right there a little bit. Like it's kind of similar styles of play, but he's good, though. He's gonna be good.
And France might have a little squad, you know.
Trust me, he's gonna be good.
Yeah, but that big old Eiffel Tower they're gonna have in the center, he gonna cost them. Well, I mean, who's playing the center? Wemby or you know, Gobert started. Wemby started. They're gonna be big as hell. France.
I mean, there were rumors they wanted.
Isn't France? Isn't the Wagner brothers?
Wemby at 3.
Yeah, but isn't the Wagner brothers? Aren't they all French?
No, they German.
Not German.
Oh.
They German, boy. Like, so I mean, yeah. Let me. I'm gonna look at this list one more time. Anthony Black, he was number 6 for Orlando Magic. He didn't play much this year.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see. I think
Jarvis Walker on the Pacers.
Yeah, he was traded to Indiana, isn't it? Yeah. On draft night. He's good though. Like from what I've seen of him, but I think his minutes dwindled a lot though. When they decided to go for that Siakam trade.
The trade.
Yeah, his minutes diminished a lot. So and I mean, it looks like they made the right choice because of where they are right now. I think that's it. Like I think just looking at that top 20.
Do you know? Yeah. I know he doesn't have a high role currently on the Cleveland Cavaliers, but Emoni Bates is a guy who had a lot of buzz in his high school years. Didn't really have a great college career, from what I remember. And then he's come in on this Cleveland squad. Hasn't played a lot of games. When he's been given opportunities, he's been a little up and down. It's going to be interesting to see potentially in year 2 if he's given an extra role, knowing what we know now with JB Bickerstaff, gone from the coaching staff. What changes are there going to be made in that Cleveland team to help them become a better squad than they were this season? Because it's interesting, right? Where there's a lot of talk around Donovan Mitchell.
You segued into it. You might have pick us off. You might as well.
Bro, there's a lot of talk about Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, he's had his comments on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. So, kind of refuting the rumors of him kind of not being happy with the maturity of the players around him. There's been a lot of talk about potentially Jarrett Allen. I know Darius Garland. There were kind of talk around his entourage, kind of wanting him to be traded away from Cleveland. And now we know JB Bickerstaff has been sacked as their head coach, where me personally, I think he's done a decent job in Cleveland with the team that they have. I get it. At the same time, I don't see what they were expecting out of this Cleveland team, because I don't think they're up there as one of those teams that should be making deep playoff runs. Ahead of at least a few of those guys in the Eastern Conference. When you look at the Celtics, the New York Knicks, if healthy, potentially the Philadelphia 76ers, that there are teams, in my opinion, that are better suited than them to perform in the playoffs. When you look at the way they performed last year, or underperformed, should I say, the struggle that it took them to get past Orlando in round 1. Like, for me, I think JB Bickerstaff was doing a good enough job. But obviously, you look at the production in the playoffs, they weren't really able to get over that hump, and this is where they find themselves. Was it gentleman's sweep against the Boston Celtics at the end of the day? So, I don't know. You get to the second round, and you better your achievements from the previous playoffs, and you end up losing your job. We speak about coaches being the scapegoat as a theme of this summer alone.
My brother, throw me that lob. Go ahead, throw me that lob.
Come on,
man. You know what it is? It's the end of the day. It's what black men get in this world. We always get the short end of the stick because everything they blame us for. And that's what Bickerstaff got. And also, not just that, Bickerstaff got caught in them trying to please Donovan Mitchell. because him and Mitchell, they had some arguments in the beginning of the season.
Mhm.
Bickerstaff and Mitchell, they don't really see eye to eye. There's a little toss up between them two earlier in the season. So you know that's why he got fired. So they could try to plead Donovan and re-sign him. But we'll see if Donovan re-sign. He might. It's a lot of money. 206 million, 4 years. Is it 200? Yeah. It's a lot of money. So let's see. Let's
I,
see what happens.
I think it's interesting, like when you look at like their roster and like what steps they need to take, right? Because we're seeing the rumors, right, where we're saying they want to get rid of Jared Allen because they want to pay Evan Mobley and give him a more prominent role, because we saw glimpses of what he can do on the offensive end in the series against the Celtics, right? And they're hoping that he makes that jump next year, because he was supposed to have made it this year. It just didn't happen for whatever reason, right? But then you look at the dynamic between Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. It just hasn't worked since he's been there. It just really hasn't. We've had 2 years of a solid like run to be able to see it work, and it just hasn't worked. I'm just like, there's even rumors of him being traded away. I'm talking about Darius Garland here, to potentially the Timberwolves, because they need a point guard to kind of replace Mike Conley.
That's clutch. That's clutch pushing that.
I mean, but then at the same time, it's an interesting situation.
If you look at where they're pushing Garland to the Lakers, that's the clutch. That's clutch talking about Reeves and blah 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 would be an enticing package. No, it won't. That's clutch.
If we're trying to rebuild, you need a couple of guys that you can just slap in there straight away into that first team without there being too much of an impact. Like, you know what I mean? If you're gonna trade Donovan Mitchell, to the Lakers, you need to grab a couple of their guys back that's just gonna at least steady it like a little bit whilst they continue to reshape. Like I agree with CM when he says that Bickerstaff is being used as a scapegoat, because like he don't deserve to get sacked for what he's been able to do. Earlier on in the season, it looked like it was about to go left. Like it looked like it, and then he turned it around and got them into the playoffs, and then second round, like he bettered last season's ending, right? But ultimately, some of the decisions by that front office has kind of pigeonholed the team, right? Because you haven't done enough to give Donovan Mitchell a winning situation. But then you argue, is Donovan Mitchell the kind of player that you expect as a number one option to lead a team to win? I don't know, because he's had his opportunity to do it with the Jazz. It didn't happen. He's been here now 2 years, and now it's a lot of complaining. I don't like this, I don't like that. But regardless, we know what he can do on the court for sure. But you're not dragging this team into places that they need to be going. So
do you guys want me to throw in a curveball right here? Real quick?
Go on, bro.
All right. Stetson LeBron James was seen of one game. You know what Stetson Bronny is working out. You know what Stetson JJ Redick has a podcast with a Stetson LeBron James, and there are rumors of him coaching the Lakers. What if, just what if, LeBron's coming home, Bronny's being drafted by the Cavs, open head coach JJ Redick?
That's an interesting one, right? Because
I don't know. I'm not picking this up from far left field, but
I said this yesterday though on the stream that we did, and I was like, basically, and then said, where does Bronny go? Basically, right? Does he go to the Lakers? And I was like probably not to the Lakers, because he needs to go somewhere where he can develop if he gets into the league. If someone drafts him, right? He needs to get somewhere to play. Someone that's gonna a team that's actually gonna like spend time dedicated to developing him. Like, I can't see LeBron leaving the Lakers for anywhere except for going back home to Cleveland. Like, he doesn't go anywhere else. Like, he's not going to follow his son to God knows where in the league. Yeah, he's not going to do that. Like, he will only do it if his son was maybe drafted by Cleveland, for example. He would leave the Lakers. As for the JJ Redick thing, like, it depends on what the Cavs are trying to do. When they're trying, if I'm saying rebuild, but it's like a small rebuild where it's like, okay, you can't re-sign Donovan Mitchell, but you're not gonna go get yourself a star. You're gonna kind of go down the route of like the Knicks. Get yourself a coach that has a system, right? And then get players to fit within that system. If they did that, then JJ Redick would be a good option for something like that. But I don't know what they're trying to do here. Are they trying to keep Donovan Mitchell? If they're trying to keep Donovan Mitchell, then they have to make some other moves to be able to make that a contending roster. I'm sorry, but George Niang is close to being out of this league because I can't see what he offers, honestly. Like that corner three stuff that he's been doing, it's even falling off now. But it's an interesting one that you throw up though. Like I can see LeBron he'll leave the Lakers only to go back home. But will it happen? I'm not so sure. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about that. But I mean, I wonder what the Cavs are trying to do with this rebuild because you get rid of your coach and he's been there four seasons, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
let me see real quick.
He's definitely done a good job. Like,
yeah.
Like, I can't say he's been really good for that team, and for them to make this decision right now with no indication as to what the direction is looking like, because if you're gonna get rid of Donovan Mitchell, then you have to have a plan. You can't waste the time of an Evan Mobley who's now approaching what's this year 3 or 4?
Year 4.
Year 4.
He just completed his 3rd year.
Yeah, you're heading into year 4, and there's a lot of expectations on him. Is he going to be the lead of the team now? What kind of work are you going to be doing in the offseason to make sure that he's ready to be potentially a lead of this team? Darius Garland, you need to get him back to his best because at a certain time it was him and Colin Sexton. We didn't know who was the better player, and then he definitely showcased what he was all about. Then you paid him, right? And then, like, it's a bit of a strange situation, obviously, to be able to obtain Donovan Mitchell. You get rid of Lauri Markkanen, who's gone to the Utah Jazz, and he's even showcased how good he really is. Even though he was showing it when he was there at the Cavs, he was showing it, and you decided to get rid of him. So it's like, I wonder what direction they're going in right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is. All right, let's get into some playoff roundup, man. We had some really good first game ones of the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals, but I'm going to take it back to the game 7s and the game 6. So let's talk about OKC and Dallas real quick. CM, give me your perspective on that that ending to that game that led to OKC out of the playoffs.
From a whole, I think in that series, Dallas did a really good job of exposing our weaknesses, perhaps. Rebounding the ball. They made it tough on our ball handlers, scoring the ball as well, making just uncharacteristic mistakes across the entirety of the series. And those things add up eventually. When you get to that point where Dallas are able to close out the series, you look at obviously a lot of our guys not really being able to put it together on a consistent basis offensively and then punishing us, really. I think the highlight of that series for me was our lack of size on securing that defensive rebound. That is able to create multiple second chance opportunities, capitalizing on those second chance points constantly as well. Sometimes 3-4 possessions at a time, just through securing that offensive board. And guys like Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, they deserve a lot of credit for that. And then the guard play, when you look at Luka Doncic, who was hobbled, was injured, didn't have his greatest games at all times. Kyrie Irving, I think for me, has probably been, and this is just a personal opinion, Kyrie Irving has been for me the best player in this NBA playoff, in the entirety of the NBA playoffs, for what he's been able to do, how he's been able to lead this Dallas team. It won't always show up on the stats sheet per se, but I think what he's been able to do on both ends of the floor, being one of the best defensive players, when you look at the guys that he's been guarding consistently, they are shooting a low percentage, and that's because of the intensity that he's been playing at, the ability to lead, to create for others, to be selfless. Playing alongside a guy like Luka Doncic is extremely important, but to also have the ability to pick your spots and take over games and take home games when you need to. He's been a perfect example of an all-round player in these playoffs. So when you look at the production from the guards in comparison to ours, obviously Shea, I think he had a phenomenal playoffs. But when you look at the other guys, credit to Jalen Williams. He definitely has some good performances. It's the first playoff experience for him. He has some tough moments. Chet Holmgren as well. You look at, at times struggling to secure boards, kind of getting roughed up from time to time, but he held his own in moments as well. I think it's a very important season for OKC going into the off season, into the summer, because there's a lot of talk about Josh Giddey and whether he's going to stay on the roster. I wouldn't think. I would feel like that is where you make the change, because Josh Giddey definitely got exposed this playoff run with his lack of offense. Guys are not willing to guard his 3-pointer. And then that takes a lot away from your ability to get downhill, your ability to create in the half court. We know his calling card is playmaking. Well, how much are you able to do?
Exposed, I was going to tell you that the NBA cleared the investigation today. My bad.
Hey, he's got a point, but I do want to speak about all that stuff, man. He's got a point, bro.
No, hey, my bad, yeah, my bad. Continue, bro. My bad.
Nah, man, it's all good, bro. But yeah, literally, I think that's an issue that needs to be sorted out, is the lack of size. When it comes to scoring, I don't have much of a concern from that, because I feel like, as a team, despite finishing as the first seed, a lot of these guys lack that playoff experience that it takes to be able to get through tough situations. And I know you said it, bro. You wanted to see this OKC team, how they would react when they were 2-1 down, when they were in that moment of adversity, when it was a win or go home scenario. And I just think the Dallas Mavericks had more guys that were willing to dig deep and to perform at that level. And they knew what to do once they were in that moment where they needed to close out the game, and the pressure was high. So I think overall, it was a successful season for them, but ultimately Dallas were the better team in the series to get past OKC.
It was close. Like, what did you think about that foul by Shea in the corner on PJ that led to the 3 free throws that he sealed the game with? Because when they showed the replay, I seen him get ball first.
Yeah. And
then, like, as he's trying to grab the ball out of his hand, then he kind of hits the forearm of PJ. Yeah. And then
I think it's a tough call, but ultimately there was contact there. And you can't argue with that at the end of the day. You commit a foul, you do what you do, and that's a mistake you're gonna have to live with until the next season rolls around. So I'm not too agree with that decision.
I don't think he needed to rush that, because if you look at the position of where he was, you're basically in front of him. You don't even need to put your body there, and then force him to make the shot. He doesn't make it. I don't think he hits it, but I think there was just a desperation that I need to get the ball so that we can get downhill because we don't have time left.
Yeah.
But
That's the thing I agree with, right? It's the decision making down the stretch that potentially hurts you in these scenarios. When I look at the Boston game, right, Siakam, he doesn't want to foul Jaylen Brown. He makes the shot, fair play, but you don't want to be the guy that's gonna outstretch, maybe put your foot in the landing area, or try go for the steal and commit the foul and give away 3 free throws, because that's far worse than potentially banking on that missed triple and going up the other end and trying to produce something.
for JB, I think you would live with him taking the free throws because you're going to miss one. In that clutch situation, you're probably going, let me foul him and see what he's about. Obviously, you don't want to take that risk, but just based on what you can, like him getting the free from there was crazy. But anyway, big up to man like Drizzy in here saying I'm here. He said it was a foul by Shea. I mean, I just asked the question because it was interesting the way they were slowing it down and stuff like that. Let's talk about I'm gonna throw this one to David. Game 7, the Denver Nuggets versus the Timberwolves, bro. What a game 7 that was.
Yeah.
Like, what did you think about that in its entirety? Because the Denver Nuggets came out. They came out
up 20.
They were ready for them. And then there was a stretch in the third where they held them to about 14 points. And it was like, this could be over.
Yeah, it was an exciting game, but the series was exciting. Like that whole series was exciting. Minnesota going up 2-0, Denver coming back to take it 3-2. Then they go to Minnesota for game 6, and Minnesota just blow them out. And then you're going to game 7, and it's like nobody could predict it. Like nobody could predict how that was going to go. And then you're talking about the altitude in Denver, the defending champions and everything, and then they go up 20. You think, it's over. That's it. And knowing like the history of the Timberwolves, right? Knowing in the Karl Anthony Towns era, we're talking about the Grizzly series a couple of years ago where they're making dumb mistakes and stuff like that. And then it's like the game just switches, and it feels like Denver's confidence was sapped because Michael Porter couldn't hit anything, or KCP couldn't hit anything. It's like Jamal Murray did what he was supposed to do. He came out strong. He came out, punched them in the mouth and everything. Jokic was steady, and you're looking at the others to give you something, and they didn't. But one person who was impressive was Karl Anthony Towns. Like he's got his fair share of criticism, but defensively he was sharp. Like he was physical with Jokic. Like he made everything difficult for Jokic, and then obviously with Rudy playing the free safety so that he can take care of the lob threat from Gordon, it just made it. But someone raised a good point. He's like, you're looking at the others of the team, right? It's like Cat and Anthony Edwards cancel Jokic and Jamal Murray. The crucial point of that game was Jaden McDaniels and Aaron Gordon. And Aaron Gordon, I think, he had single digits, I think 6 points, something like that. And then McDaniels was like 20, almost 19, 20 points. I think he outscored him at 19 points just in that matchup. And I think that was the difference in the series. But yeah, it was a good game for sure. I think this series they're in now is even going to top that.
Yeah. Because
the Denver Nuggets, as much as they're a very formidable team, they don't have enough shot creators on the perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of plays into Minnesota's hand because Ant can chase over the top or McDaniels can chase over the top, and then they're delaying the actions. And then Jokic, as much as he's a shot creator, in terms of creating his own offense, he needs to kind of do it from the low block or the low post. But now you have, he's seen two bodies, and then it's like they can't hit shots. And you can see Gordon's confidence was gone a little bit. And so it's an interesting. We'll talk about this series, but going back to that game 7, I felt for Denver, for Minnesota to make a statement that, okay, we're here to stay, you need to punch up the champions in the mouth, and they did that in game 7 in their building. So they should have every confidence. It's unfortunate they lost game 1, but they've been in a tough place, and then they've come out of it. So I'm sure that will bode them on for their playoff run, the rest of their playoff run.
Yeah, like I mean, you look at what they've been able to do in that series. I think the key thing that we have to highlight for the Denver Nuggets, they're just not the same team as they were last year. You know, when you lose, when you lose Jeff Green, when you lose Bruce Brown, there were guys that were definitely giving them a lot of scoring option off the bench. When you look at it this season, I mean, Chris Brown, obviously he was his rookie year last year, but he's experienced. This is what he did 4 years in college before coming into the league. He was a champion at every level in college, in high school. So, you know, and in his first season, he becomes a champion. You know,
Peyton Watson didn't give you that.
Yeah, Peyton Watson didn't give you that. Reggie Jackson coming back to the team.
Roland, you going on playback today?
Yeah, we're there. The game kicks off at 1, innit? So I'll be there for sure.
Okay.
You already know. Their bench not being as strong as last season is the reason why they kind of found themselves where they were. And I think that the defensive intensity kind of went up and down from the Timberwolves during the series. And this is why you see them lose a couple of games, 3 games in the series. But for them to be able to survive, because I think that was Ant's worst game.
Michael Malone got caught up in trying to be somebody's daddy too much.
Yeah, see, I said this. I said you cannot be out here talking the way you're talking, because I get when players talk, but I've never seen a coach come and talk the way he needs to talk. And it's like, I get it. You've been at the team for 8-9 years. This has been
but I think he kind of has to do that because there's nobody on that team who is in their default nature to do that talk. Like the Warriors have Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler will come out and say whatever he wants to say, but Jokic is not going to say anything. Jamal Murray's quiet, so he needs to be that. And look how much he goes to the Lakers fans by talking trash in the media and stuff like that, and sending shots. You don't have anybody on the roster that can do that, so he has to kind of.
That's an interesting perspective. I didn't think of it like that.
I hear that. Yeah, I didn't talk about it like that.
I didn't think of it like that. You're right.
Drizzy said, are we going to talk about Jokic's defense and rebounding? It was bad. Jokic's defense was bad. I mean, his rebounding, he grabbed rebound because he's taller than you, and it come off to him and he keep it up there. But he is very lazy on the defensive side. I mean, I don't know if it's lazy or he just can't move. At the end of the day, he's the MVP. But the Lakers series was telling. The Lakers was just shit. Yeah. If they could have just held if LeBron could have still be the number 1, the Lakers won that series because Bron got it, but he don't. He's old. You know what I'm saying? Like
he was gassed, man. Because
exactly, that's what I'm saying. If
when you get fourth quarter, they were gassed.
Exactly. So if it was if it was Bron from 2 years ago, I think the Lakers beat them. I think
MPJ could have missed. That's it.
Yeah, that fool too. And then he did not show up. They should lock him up with his brothers, man.
Oh boy.
Hey, you know what crazy. I wanted to talk about, what I wanted to touch on, right?
Go on.
And they don't sit a lot for a lot of minutes, but the point is they should not sit together at all for not even a minute. Kyrie and Luka. Like Jason Kidd, Jason Kidd is a very good coach. But he needs to run it because I hear you guys seeing was talking about Kyrie and the OKC series, and like I said, Kyrie in Cleveland before LeBron, he had to grow on me because the attitude wasn't right. Even when LeBron got there, the attitude wasn't right, and he developed and he grew into becoming one of my favorite players, especially when I start seeing him get attacked by everybody in the world. But the thing is with Kyrie Irving that he learned and you see him develop over the years is how to play off the ball. And I don't think Luka can do that as much as Kyrie can. And it's fine because Kyrie, he's getting older and he's getting wiser and he wants to. He wants to. And I feel like when he sits one of them first and bring in Hardaway or whoever. When the other one get a 2-minute breather and he's coming back in, then you sit the other one for his 1 minute or his 2-minute breather, and then he come back in and they're in together. But I don't think, especially this series, going forward, if they go forward too, they shouldn't be sitting at the same time, not even for 30 seconds. Only when it's a timeout. You see what I'm saying? They need to find a way to start staggering the minutes where they're not off the floor A lot.
But then I'll throw this to you, bro. Do you reckon that? Because yesterday they were shooting very poorly from free. Like, imagine if they were hitting their shots. I think you have time and room to sit them for a little longer periods because you're gonna be up by like 6, up by 9.
Yeah, but
what I mean?
sit whoever, but not both at the
Not
same
both.
time. Because
Yeah.
even being up 9, you need the other one in there. Like PJ Washington need Kyrie and Luka. Derek Lively need a Kyrie or a Luka. Like all of the whole roster is built for one of them on the floor at the whole time. Like none of those guys, like PJ Washington, I'm not about to call a post up or blah 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 for PJ Washington. I'm running a play where Kyrie or Luka dish it to him in the corner or he cuts and they lob it up to him. Like I'm not, you know what I'm saying? So one of them that's what I'm saying. One of them needs to be on the floor at all time. But yes, extend the lead and hit your threes. And they could both get rest longer periods, but not at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like now, if you're hitting your threes and you're up 12, Luke can get a 3-minute. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie comes out. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie get 3 minutes. It's like that, but I don't think they should be sitting at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. What do you guys think about that? That game 1, in particular though, yesterday. Like, I mean, I spoke about the fact that, you know, even though they shot poorly from 3, they were able to really get downhill and score. You know, specifically Derek Lively, his minutes off the bench, he was able to catch a few lobs. But then obviously, you know, Luka took over in that fourth quarter to kind of steal the game for them. But what did you guys think about it?
Well, Kyrie comes out aggressive, 24 points in the first half. I think him and Luka in the end combines for 63. It's a really good return on that backcourt duo. Anthony Edwards is an interesting one, right? Because I think he struggled in the
fourth quarter.
Yeah. That's one thing.
Yeah, he was definitely
so I think he struggled towards the latter stages of the previous series against the Nuggets. Now game 1. And we're looking at him. He takes up the assignment of guarding Kyrie and specific possessions. And there was a clip of him, especially where Kyrie's putting the moves of him near the corner, where he's just behind the play in the press conference. He's saying, I was a little behind my team. And that affects it, right? Kyrie goes in transition, he gets ahead of and he's not able to get back for the layup. And those are the things that I think Minnesota are going to have to find a way to make his life easy as well, because what we've seen is he didn't get that go downhill. He didn't attack the paint as much as Anthony Edwards should be doing against any team he goes up against. And he settled for how many 3-pointers? I think, what was it?
Guys, do you think that heavy fall he took in game 6 has something to do with it? Because in game 7, he wasn't as aggressive, although we can contribute that to how they were trapping him. And then you're saying this game. Do you think that heavy fall he took in game 6
was it the one where he landed on his back, David?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he's young, obviously he can play through it, but sometimes it's one of those ones where it never goes. You don't feel comfortable exploding out of certain angles and stuff like that. So I don't know.
I hear it.
You could say it.
I hear it, but like him taking 12 threes in game 1, and Anthony Edwards should be never taking 12 of his 16 shots from beyond the arc.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. That's you settling because you know that you are trying to avoid any contact as much as possible.
I think
Go on, bro. Sorry. No, you go on. Yeah.
I was gonna say I think a part of that as well is Dallas playing the angles well and making it difficult for Anthony Edwards to really maneuver into those positions where he can get off shots in the mid-range area, get to the rim too.
But they didn't blitz him like how I thought they would. They let Kyrie and him just go at it against each other. And Kyrie like showed his experience, right? And this is what I was saying. You watch the impact of Kyrie on the defensive end in this playoff run. He's the one that set the tone for them, for the team. Everybody is doing their job. You look at that little block by Luka towards the end where he just grabs the ball away from Rudy Gobert, right? Tell me Luka's doing this 3 years ago. He's not doing it 3 years ago. When you have someone like Kyrie who we know what he can do offensively, but has decided I need to set the tone here. I'm the most experienced player here. I'm setting the tone here, and everybody has to follow my lead here. We have to be concentrated through this game because there's a lot of threats on the court. And like, I think he definitely took the challenge up, especially after Anthony Edwards was kind of talking, about his matchup with Kyrie. Yeah, so like, I think, and then we saw it towards the end. He was so gassed, and it's like I saw a debate that was starting to bubble up about the best players being good two-way players, right? Because they want Anthony Edwards to be a great defender as well as a great offensive player too.
But they also got to be smart.
Because it will take its toll on you if you're not smart about it. Like, and I don't think he's been too smart about it, to be honest with you, in this playoffs. He's been just going for it without thinking about the
two-way. Hear me out. You can show your two-way and being smart by when you get the switch, you're not hiding. Some man when they get the switch, they're calling for the guard to like hurry and come back. Like, don't let me stay on him. Like, don't, you know what I'm saying? You can switch if they put you in the pick and roll, which you're not going to, but don't start on Kyrie. Like, picking him up, like, that's a lot of energy because he's not just bouncing the damn ball on the floor. Like, he's not Jamal Murray, bro.
He's going to run.
Like, what you did to Jamal Murray, whoever you did when they dropped on their knees, he would do that to you over and over and over again, bro. Like, don't be smart about it, bro. Like, you are not trying. Anthony Edwards is trying to win brownie cookies and win a championship. You got to know, like, your championship come first. Like, don't try to be this, like, your ego. Like, we know you can. Nobody said you can't. Like, nobody said you can't play defense, but let your other teammates handle that, and you go on a Derrick Jones Jr. who's gonna stand in the corner.
Yeah, and Chino.
But then that's the issue with the Mavericks, right? Compared to the other teams, it's like Anthony Edwards is their second best perimeter defender. So if you put Jaden McDaniels on Luka, you can't put what's his name, Mike Conley on Kyrie. Mike Conley can do a good job. It's like that's the difference, that the different matchup problem that the Dallas Mavericks bring, and it's something, I don't know, they might have to bring in a Naz Reid or somebody like that, somebody that is a little bit more switchable, because Kyrie and Gobert in the drop coverage, he's gonna punish you. Like Luka in the pick and roll, like they're gonna punish you. It's like they like Chino made a good point. It's important that Kyrie and Luka on the floor at all times because they don't have any ball handlers on that team. So they have a heavy dose of pick and roll, and they have their lively dive into the basket, Gafford dive into the basket. They don't really have elite shooters, but if they're wide open enough, they will make their shots. Like they proved in the OKC series, like PJ Washington went off a couple of games. So that's the matchup problem. I don't know what adjustments that they'll have to make, any lineup changes. Maybe I heard Draymond Green talking about bringing Rudy off the bench and then starting, what's his name? Slow-mo.
That's the agenda,
because slow-mo is good at the level of the screen. But it's a very interesting one. I feel Naz Reid might be the best adjustment because he can move his feet a little bit and contain somebody. Like he wouldn't let a Luka get past him or something like that. Like I have the Mavs winning this series because of the matchup, but
yeah. That's an interesting one, man. I mean, I'm wondering what's going to happen in Game 2 tomorrow. CM, what was you going to say, bro?
I was going to say, going back onto Anthony Edwards, we know what it takes to play elite level defense and then still have to be one of the main offensive guys on your team. It takes a high level of conditioning to be able to keep up in playing on both levels, especially if you're guarding a guy like Kyrie. So it's interesting where, Chino says, well, how can Minnesota make adjustments to allow Anthony Edwards to have possessions where he can recover, but also mitigating the effects of a Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic and those guys when they are looking to take over the game and extend leads or get back into games. It will be an interesting dynamic for them to work out.
I mean, it's a tough one, right?
Like you don't guard Kyrie and Luka.
You just don't guard Kyrie. Like you can't. Like even the Warriors series, like look when Klay Thompson was guarding him. Go look at Klay Thompson's offensive numbers. His legs were gone. Like because a lot of ball handlers
don't even go there. Don't even go there because if Kyrie stayed, y'all wouldn't have had no 3, 4, 5 championships. Like, let's not go.
Well, that's not what I was saying. I'm actually giving Kyrie credit. I'm just saying that Klay Thompson was guarding Kyrie and couldn't give you anything offensively. Like anybody that guards Kyrie, because Kyrie will push the ball. Like he's not gonna just lollygag and just play around with his foot. Like he's very direct, but he knows how to work his angles. He's great at finishing, and he knows how to play that kind of mass game that if you try to cheat, he can just pull up for a mid-range or he can just pull up from 3. And he's doing it at a very rapid pace. So if Anthony Edwards knows what's best for him, just have somebody slide over. But the question is, who are you going to have slide over unless you make a roster or a lineup change? Because now in this series, having Kat and Gobert, where Dallas are trying to kill you from the perimeter, it's a bit, I don't know if that's the smartest thing to do.
Because like what happens is like you see they were killing Rudy with the drop coverage, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, but the thing about it is like, do you break up what has been successful for them in that particular time? That
Gobert think it's Jamal Murray in the drop, bro. Kyrie will put that ball where you can't even touch it.
Yeah,
like sure. You're not touching the ball until it hit the glass and it's dropping in the rim, bro.
Yeah,
like he throw that bitch high off the glass, bro.
Yeah, like, I wonder what's gonna happen.
I'm about to trigger Chino. Imagine this was Bab. Like we don't even having a problem. Bab could just switch on, right?
This guy. But you see, the funny thing is like the NBA.
I'm not lying though.
No, they know this, but then they still vote Rudy as defensive player of the year. Like it makes no sense, bro. I just don't get it, bro. I don't get it, bro. Personally, like the league is a joke, man. Like it's just a joke thing, bro. Adam Silver gotta go.
Mission accomplished.
Hey, let's talk about the Celtics and Pacers series before we wrap this show up, man. So game 1, man, it was an interesting watch. I mean, you know, the Pacers they definitely set the pace on you if you've been watching them this playoff run, they've been watching this regular season, but watching them in this kind of scenario in the Eastern Conference Finals, they definitely brought it to the Celtics. Miles Turner had a half, like he was really good, shot the ball from 3. He was having his will inside, and there was some struggles there. You know, the Celtics were keeping in it, you know, just sitting the 3 ball. Jason Tatum doing his thing, Jaylen Brown doing his thing, and then got towards the end of the game, and I was like, me and Chino were watching it. I was like, yeah, this game 1 is over. Like they've lost this. They've dropped another game at home in the playoffs, and then they just kind of pull it out the bag. And this is what I've been waiting for, right? Like, and I think a lot of NBA fans have been waiting for, to see the Celtics in the clutch time situation, and they're making the right choices in order to get themselves a victory. And I want to say this, right? I think we always speak about like championship teams, yeah, or championship level teams being able to win when they don't play well. But I haven't seen that narrative being spoken about when it comes to just this particular victory for the Celtics. It's another situation of they didn't play well enough, or we expect better of them, right? But you're not going to play well every game. But if you can win whilst not playing well, doesn't that speak to your championship credentials? I'm just going to throw that question out there for you guys.
You know what? Definitely, you can say that. I feel like at the end of the day, when you look at the game, 21 turnovers, I believe, for Indiana. Boston get a whole load of points off of those turnovers. And eventually they get away with a bad shooting night. I think they shot 33% from free in the entire game. You come up with some crucial plays in overtime. Obviously, that free by Jaylen Brown is big. But like you said, when you look at Indiana, you expected them to close it out. And unfortunately, they weren't able to do that. And when you look back on a game like that in this series, especially with Indiana, who have struggled to win games away from their home court, you will look back at that one at TD and say, we needed that one. That could be the crucial game in the series that you look back at it and say, if it ends up finishing in 5 or if it ends up finishing in 4, something like that, they will regret not winning that game and setting the tone in the series to say we are here. And it was a close game throughout, to be fair. when you look at the scoring of each quarter, each half, so I think that will make it even more disappointing for Indiana. But for Boston, of course, you can say you play bad, you're able to win it any which way. It will give you guys a world of confidence because right now there are a lot of negative conversations when it comes to guys like Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics in general, not really being able to make it over the hump, being to a load of conference finals and NBA finals. There's been a lot of conversation on the team needing to produce. And I think winning that game should take a bit of pressure off of you guys and should allow you guys to play at a high level. I heard that Kristaps Porzingis it should be back by game 4.
Yeah,
that would be a big return for Boston. But for now, we'll see how it goes in game 2 because I think that's another big one for both teams involved.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, right? Like, despite the fact that the Celtics went on a couple of runs where they were up by 12, 13 points, and the Pacers were able to, because they really run the floor very well. I like the way that they play, like especially on offense. Like, no matter if it comes off the rim or if it goes in the net, they're grabbing it down and they just get it straight out there and just going to the basket. They're just trying to get up there and score. I like that about them. I think that in these types of scenarios where you may have to slow down a bit because you need to make the right plays. They turned the ball over a lot because they were just maybe trying to do too much. Their offense is very varied. It doesn't have a particular pattern. So you saw a lot of turnovers where now Obi Toppin's handling the ball. He doesn't know what to do. Do you know what I'm saying? There was a bit of confusion where he turns away from the play thinking that he was able to lay off the ball when then all of a sudden there's a steal. Like, there's things like that happens. And I don't know if they have the capability of slowing down the game in order to make the right choices, put the ball in the hands of Halliburton to be able to make plays, or if they're just going to continue the same way. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what Rick Carlisle does to maybe adjust that to that, or if that's just a one-off. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, a bit of nerves being in a big game like this, and you're staying close to the team or the best team in the NBA, or the best team left. Like, it's a pretty interesting one. But I'm gonna ask you guys for predictions, yeah, for these game 2s. Who do you think gets the victory in these game 2s before we wrap this up?
Ooh. I think Celtics go up 2-0. Like CM mentioned, it's one of those games that I feel like it's like, first I remember at the start of the playback, I saw how you and Chino were hyped. Like Chino kept saying they are not ready for it, because Celtics went up 12-0, and for them to steady that craziness and come back and then be in a strong position and lose it. And we already know Celtics have a habit of just giving one away at home. Like, it's just their thing. And it just felt like that was the game that they were ready to give for free. And then they were able to somehow come out with the win. So I feel that they're going to come into game 2, make sure they take care of business 2-0. And then maybe game 3, that's when maybe Pacers will at least get one. But I think is going to the Celtics. I think Celtics are going up 2-0. I also think Minnesota are going to even the series. I feel Miles have gotten the one that they needed on the road. Now they're in a position to make adjustments, right? So they're going to make some adjustments. We know how Chris Finch has been brilliant this season. They're going to make some adjustments, and they will play desperate, right? They wouldn't want to go down to, or they will play desperate. And I think Ant has had 2 bad games. If he's what we all think he is going to be, I feel this is a perfect opportunity for him to come back and like, hey, I'm not going out to on my home and having 3 bad games in a row. So I think he's going to will them to tie the series 1-1.
Yeah. What do you think, CM?
I would say Boston are gonna go 2-0 up, win again on their home floor, handle business there in the Western Conference. I'm looking at Minnesota. Last time up against Denver, they were the guys that went 2-0 up, and they understood what it took to play at the level that they did to achieve that goal. But they also understand how they squandered that 2-0 lead and allowed Denver to get back into that series. So from past experience in this playoff run, from understanding the magnitude of what it means to be 0-2 down and the energy you need to exert to be able to get back into that situation. Because when we even look back at that, you never know. That can even play in the result of the series in terms of the energy you exert. It may have affected Denver to a certain extent. It may affect Minnesota if they have to all of a sudden now find that extra bit of energy reserve to be able to play at a higher level consistently, even more so than they have done in this playoff run. So I think it's crucial that they level up the series, and I think that they will.
Yeah, that's fair. Hey, Chino, you there? I don't know if he is,
Yeah, he might be chilling, man.
Yeah, he might be chilling right now.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, give me your picks for the game 2s, please.
Yeah, because my phone about to die. I'm on 3%. Man, do I want to go Dallas 2 up? I don't know. I might say, what do you think, Legend? Do you think 1-1 or 2-0? Celtics Pacers. I don't know. Indiana might not get none until they go home. So I'm gonna say the Celtics win tonight, and I say Minnesota win. I say 2-0 Celtics. Dallas, Minnesota 1-1. Dallas will go from there though.
Yeah, I think
it's a broad agreement.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think Celtics will win tonight. They had a bad game. I think they'll come out a bit better and hold the leads that they should be able to take.
Bro, they gotta sit Cody Zeller, bro.
Hey, I was saying this to CM. Please don't bring Luke Cornett. I'm begging. Please. He was being killed. Him and Sam Hauser, they didn't offer what they were supposed to offer. So please, just keep them out. Like, there's big mismatches for them on the court. Just keep them out. But yeah, I think it's 2-0 Celtics, and then it's 1-1 after tomorrow with the Timberwolves. So yeah. Hey, that was a good show, man. Look, it's over 2 hours. And
listen, I'm out of here. Hey, CM, come through on playback, man.
Hey, CM, are you available for tonight or tomorrow?
Probably tomorrow, because in the morning I got football training.
Okay,
so I'm gonna come through tomorrow, man.
Yeah, come through tomorrow, bro. It's a bit of a vibe, though. I can't lie, man. Like,
say no more. I'm liking what playback's bringing, you know. Like,
hey,
I like the concept of it for sure.
It's not bad. I think Chino's phone's died, but
big ups to Chino, man.
Yeah, but yeah, he's gonna come through and play back tonight. But yeah, nice. It's really nice. And for everybody who's in the chat, if you haven't already, make sure you come through to playback.tv. Just search Pros Only Sports on there. We're gonna be streaming the Celtics game live in about, I don't know, half an hour or so. And then come through there. And then also tomorrow night, basically all the games through to the finals as well. It's gonna be live. So come through and check us out on there. But yeah, and also we'll be streaming simultaneously live on YouTube as well. So if you're unable to watch it, or you just need a scoreboard in the background or something like that, just come through, do that. And yeah, you'll get some commentary from me and Chino, and then CM eventually when he joins us on the weekend and stuff like that. So it should be all good. But yes, make sure people you're hitting the like button and subscribe button. We appreciate you for all coming through. as well and joining us. Thank you to special guest David as well for coming through. Appreciate
it. Thank you.
And yeah,
man. Long time coming.
Yeah, for sure. Chino's been on to you, man. Like it's been coming through, man. So I appreciate you coming through, bro. Like, it was really good to hear your opinions and stuff like that. So I appreciate that. And yeah, we'll be back next week, obviously, with another big free show. We're gonna round up. I mean, at that point, we'll probably be around game 4s on both sides, potentially game 5s. I'm not too sure. We'll see. We have a bit more to discuss there. And yeah, just hit the playback as well. The link is in the chat. And then just come through and vibe with us as we watch those games together. And yeah, we'll be back next week, people. Have a good one. Peace.
Peace.
Come on.